I cannot win. I truly am Zombie Man because I cannot win. I wasn't going to live react to this chapter because I was like, Matt, you're busy over the weekend, you're going to get sport on stuff because of social media, you're not going to last, just hold off like on the live reaction for this one, just review when you can over the next couple of days, just read it, enjoy it, that's fine. And I did read it and I did enjoy it, but so many questions, but literally, then a couple hours later, I turned out I had an hour alone where I could have live reacted to it, but I didn't, because I didn't have the time. I just cannot win. Oh dear. One Punch Man 113. What was the name of the chapter? Very appropriate title. One Punch Man 113. Terrible Luck. Good chapter. Like I said, so many questions. Like, all the questions. All of them at once. What is going on? The chapter starts with obviously the cover page of Tatsumaki. Looks good, of course, but I think with everything else that goes on, I'm not really too fussed about that. It's Murata Rai, always looks good. It starts off where we end off last time with a zombie man who's just been obliterated by Child Emperor, Homeless Emperor's attacks. And he asks the question, which is on all our minds, but on my mind especially, why do you have those abilities? They break the rules of One Punch Man. Like, there's no kind of common sense to them. There's not really anything like that. And he just says, like, that's more like magic more than anything. How do you get those abilities? And Homeless Emperor, surprisingly, well, I guess, like, surprisingly in the sense of, like, you know, he's just like, fine, I'll tell you. But it's a very anime thing to tell you, like, let me tell you my backstory and everything. But I've always, like, especially with the executives, I want to know their backstories, because, like, we get, like, obviously the silly ones, like Crabulante and things like that, but, like, generally, I think with the more powerful monsters, they tend to have actually quite sad backstories. So, we see from this, again, just another example of what it is to be, like, how these people became monsters, like, people like Phoenix Man and Garo, of course, as well. These people who have been, like, looked down and trodden down on their life by people who didn't treat them right, and because of that, like, they end up in a dark place. And we see this in this chapter, like, you know, he became a monster basically because of, well, not because of this, but one reason for, like, him on the path to become a monster was the fact he had a job before and he was forced to do stuff he didn't want to do, and then he got fired for doing that stuff. And, which isn't great by any means, but I think that's actually just a really key message of One Punch Man, which is, hey, be nice to people. Just be a good person. We see this obviously like with Phoenix Man, like, who lost his job and his boss like treated him like shit, like he poured water on his head. Garo, like, he was trying to do the right thing and then kids picked on him for doing the right thing. Like, these people are being misled and it's not always their fault. And I'm not saying, like, you know, it's entirely humanity's fault for it, but they are, of course, they are part of it. But like I said, there are monsters out there. Like, if you read like the police side story chapter, Surprise Plum, he was drink driving. Like, that's his fault. He was doing something bad, and like he's blamed the police for who were just checking up on him to make sure it was okay. And like, so there are people who you cannot help if they're not ready to help themselves. But if people are doing good stuff and you're forcing them to do bad stuff, and then they end up bad because of it, you kind of got to take some responsibility for it. So generally, a message of One Punch Man is, be a good person. And generally, what's interesting about Homeless Emperor in comparison to a lot of other monsters is a lot of other monsters go out and lash back on humanity. Like, it's their fault I'm like this, I'm going to take down humanity. And like, that's what leads to them becoming a monster, like their intense hatred. But Homeless Emperor was different because he didn't really have a hatred for his boss or anything. He just kind of like had an epiphany about life. He had like, being homeless, having to live with nature, he had like true respect for nature, which is a very interesting way to go about it. And like, you know, he's like, you know, we as humanity have ruined what nature's given us, and he gives examples like, you know, no light is better than the light of the sky kind of stuff, and it's good stuff. And then he eventually, like, instead of his thing of lashing out on, like, using his hatred to humanity in that sense, he's like, I'm just going to, like, and this is what was interesting, like, he just came to the conclusion that he was going to kill himself instead. Like, that was his answer to this in comparison to a lot of other people. He was there like, I just need to become one with nature once again. And he was ready to kill himself. And then this is where things get absolutely crazy. Like, okay, because out of nowhere, apparently God appeared before him and gave him these abilities. Now, this is crazy because I feel like I'm keeping a very open mind about this, because It's One Punch Man. One Punch Man is a series that likes to betray expectations. It really does. So, for everything from Saitama's workout regime to getting the powers he has, to King being the strongest man, for him to actually be for everything like that, so on and so forth. There's a few examples of stuff like this, and I think this could be something else, because with the way One Punch Man goes, I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out to be a joke and it's actually something completely different, and he got his abilities for something absolutely ridiculous. But on the chance it is not, have we just met, like, the god level threat? Is this the genuine, like, potential final boss of One Punch Man? Because he's a god, right? And like his power, I mean, we can talk about like how strong characters are. Like, you know, we could talk about how impressive Boros was when he kicked Saitama to the moon. We could talk about how impressive Orochi's massive attack was, right? They're great. They truly are. But like nothing, I assume like nothing, you know, this being, whoever it is, gave powers to someone who was completely normal by all regards, and instantly pretty much made them a dragon level threat, or at least within the span of a month. Like, the only kind of growth like that is Garo, and that explains why he's kept his, like, I guess why he didn't, like, transform into a monster, why he's got such a human appearance, because in reality he's human, he's just been given amazing abilities. And this is why, like, I'm concerned, is because, like, this is the first thing we see this person do, is, like, whoever this is, if this is a thing, they have just given, like nothing, they have made someone dragon level threat, you know? And as we know, like, there is a very clear gap between between monster rankings. Like, there's no way a demon can match up to a dragon. We see this very clearly. I think the best example of this is still with the monster trio, Demon Showerhead, like Showerhead, Unicorn, and Super Mouse all team up against, well, they go to fight Overgrown Rover and Garo separately, and they just get bodied by each of them individually. This seems like god level threat abilities. Like I said, I want to make clear, I'm really trying to keep an open mind about this, but this could be, like, the final villain. And they say, like, you know, you're not wrong, humanity is they are scum, basically, but I will give you abilities, you are different to them. And this is what I'm confused about, because if this is the god level threat, like, if, I'm saying a lot of ifs, because, let's face it, this is the word god, then, of course, like, maybe how are they going to affect the story? Because why have they not done anything sooner? And the only way I could think about it is because, like, when I thought of gods and heroes in this kind of sense, like, the oldest stories of heroes, as far as I'm aware, are the ancient Greek stories of heroes. And generally with those, gods don't interfere with, it's not like in the ancient Greek stories, and Zeus was there, and he fought against all these monsters, and it was incredible. Like, he did have his parts in the story, but, like, when heroes need help, the gods show up, and they give them their blessing. So maybe this is what this person can do. Like, he or she or it, in this case, can only, like, make clear of, like, can only kind of grant abilities to people without intervening, because that's what it is to be a god. Like, you know, not actually going down and showing places. And I guess, like, I'm really just thinking about Saitama at this point, because the one phrase that when I was thinking about it before reviewing this was, they were really going on about, like, the phrase that came to my head is after Saitama took the Hero Association exam, and he went, and they said, like, it's almost as if a god resides within Saitama, you know? Like, maybe there's something more to that. It's way too soon to tell, but I think there could be. And that's how we got these abilities. But, of course, one of the reasons for this discussion was about how, was about Thingy. What was Thingy? Was Zombie Man trying to buy some time so he could regenerate, and he was like, I ran this conversation out of it, and he's still trying. He's like, what do you mean, this god? Did they have any, like, proof to show they were a god? And then eventually Homer's Emperor was just like, enough talk. You are questioning my savior like this. I'm going to destroy you. Saitama's in the corner, just like it's a pretty, like, I guess maybe just to lighten the mood, because that's a pretty intense backstory about a man who lost everything, was going to kill himself, and then became a monster to rebel against humanity because God apparently saved him. And then Saitama just in the corner, like, I hope my house doesn't fall down. There's a lot of earthquakes around here. And maybe there's something on purpose there with Saitama showing up after talk about a god. I don't know. But this could be it, you know. Shit. Okay, and then the rest of the chapter was good, but that's like the highlight of it. obviously we then cut to a My Mask, who I didn't expect to see. And a My Mask is like, he's got a monster in his hand and he's like planning out his day because now the news of a second one has shown up. My second child is down there, Tario. He's like, well, I'm gonna have to cancel the photo shoot and the interview, and then the film thing is gonna have to be rescheduled too. And like, we see how brutal a My Mask is. He's carrying around a monster for information. He's like, just kill me. He's like, that's your decision. And then like, I'm like, okay, My Mask. And then we get to see the supply of monster cells, where My Mask has destroyed, which basically is, for us more than anything, it's very slim chances, but there aren't going to be many more monster cells. Maybe one or two will survive, but My Mask has basically blown up a majority of them. So monster cells, I think it's telling us more than anything, don't worry about monster cells too much, because like, he's like, he's very... Oh, My Mask is very humble, isn't he? He's very much like, I am the greatest, I am the best fighter, I can destroy these no issue, there'll be no problem for me. And then you know, he actually goes on about how he's going to go take on Orochi, when the monster's like, not even the executives could take on Orochi. And speaking of executive, one shows up and he's zipping around, and you can tell from the shape it's Fiora Ugly at the very least. But obviously a My Mask goes to fight him, and what I did like actually is he held off a My Mask, and like, that's not a surprise because it's an executive, but that kick was sweet, and I was like, yo, look at that attack, it was really good. But what I liked reading it again, which I didn't pick up on, which is the best little detail, is Fiora Ugly's pants are torn. Like, his trousers are split in half. I love that so much. It's so stupid, I love it. Why is that there? Like, it's such a great, well, because like, he's supposed to be the disgusting person, and I just love that they have that little detail there. And then of course you got it going on with My Mask, like, he's like, I can take down any threat, and then immediately he's like, after he sees Fiora's face, he backs off and he's like, no, I can't win. I cannot win against this opponent. And then he goes on in a very humble manner, he's like, me, the handsome, brilliant, intelligent, worth 1,000 heroes of My Mask, surely cannot. And I was like, alright, okay, slow down, be humble, because he really just thinks the world of himself. Like, I get it, he's strong, and we always know he's quite arrogant about himself, but this is like, he's monologuing to himself about how wonderful he is. Not even like the strong, I think like, even among like the heroes who are pretty like, I'm amazing, like, none of them are that bad. I think the most was Stinger when he was like, I can take on Threadable God, and even that was shut down immediately. So we then see Fiora Ugly, and that's actually a pretty good design, because they do make him really disgusting, and he's like, oh, you make the girl scream, so do I, and he's like, I'm gonna tear you limb from limb. So, we learn that there's a type of monster called Ugmon, which hasn't really been, I guess, an explored topic in One Punch Man, like a type of monster, like actual types of monsters apart from their rankings, because they can be so varied. But apparently these are monsters who were people who were ugly, and basically because they started to hate themselves because they were ugly, they turned into bad people and their hearts became dark, and then basically their strength is based on how hideous and dark their heart was, which is this. And My Mask is immediately like, I can't beat this guy, which is very, like I said, they built it up very much like a My Mask, like, I can do it, I'm the best, I'm the best thing the Hero Association has, and he's to me like, I can't win. But I think maybe, like, just on that idea, like, maybe it'd be interesting to see, I guess, like, with the fight so far, and like, I imagine this is what's going to happen with the next chapters, we're going to get a little bit of this fight, and then we're going to go see the next executive, which I guess would be Gums or Evil Natural Water at this point. And I guess what I want to see from here is, like, how, like, we've only seen, like, little glimpses of these fights, pretty much, like, apart from, like, I guess Atomic Samurai and Black S have had a bit of a fight, but I mean, like, in terms of what the executives can really do, they're all, I feel like, holding back, there's something more to them, and what I want to see from here is basically what their ideal matchups would be, because they're all based on their worst matchups. Like, Atomic Samurai's Black S wasn't great, like, because obviously of the cutting. Homo Sempra versus Sunman, because Sunman doesn't have the firepower to take on Homo Sempra. And then, of course, we see from this Fiora Ugly versus a My Mask, because a My Mask is, like, afraid that he doesn't like ugliness in the world, so when someone who's this ugly shows up, it's a bad matchup for him. So I want to know what their ideal matchups would be, I guess, so we can kind of start to counterattack them. So for me, I imagine, like, Flashy Flash would be great against Homo Sempra, because he'd be fast enough to dodge the magic, and, like, and for me, like, I guess Pig God, because someone who doesn't really care too much about that kind of stuff. I know Pig God will probably end up going up against Gums, but that, I'm just thinking of, like, more like, idealistic matchups. I'm not really sure about Black S. Personally, I think Saitama's got to be the one to take him on. But in any case, yeah. Like, I want to know more about these executives still, and, like, I'm liking the way the chapters are going, to be honest, because it's, like, little glimpse stuff. Little glimpse of them, next executive. Little glimpse, next executive, and I don't mind. I imagine that's what the next two chapters are going to be as well. But, yeah, very good chapter. All the questions. There's God, apparently. And he's potentially a big old bad. Well, he's probably a big old bad, and we need to learn more about him, but I don't know when. It's probably going to be a long time before we see more about this guy. I'm thinking like final arc if we do, or unless it turns out to be a joke. There's a part of me that wants it to be real, but there's a part of me that really wants it to be a joke as well. Yeah, what did you guys think of this chapter? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to know. Thank you for watching if you settled through this. I'll try and get back on time with stuff. I know I've been late for a while, but I'm a busy gentleman. Gentleman, that's the word I want to describe me. But thank you for watching, I hope you liked it. Subscribe, comment, you know everything. People tell you all the time. And goodbye.